Welcome, traveller, to Tales from the Woldwood, a history loosed in no particular order. I am Edvane, keeper of this archive, and I invite you now to witness our history. There are places where judgment is delivered with rituals, and others where it is delivered with silence. In one such place, a woman is found misaligned because the world no longer knows how to hold her, and exile becomes her first honest step toward becoming whole.
My sister Cylaen stood in the place assigned to her and let posture do what it had been trained to do. Be stoic, invite nothing, and concede nothing. The court of Serafall had gathered beneath its canopy of pale boughs and pastel blossoms. It was all as exquisite as it had ever been, and that was how she knew the judgment was already decided. If there had been doubt, there would have been fussing and murmurs. The seat had been arranged with care, but those who used to gravitate toward her were placed far enough away that their attention could not become support. Those who disliked her sat where they could watch her without being noticed. The arbiter had taken the high curve, a natural place for authority. Around them sat the councillors, each one with the composed face of one who believed stern disapproval was the same as being just. She found me easily. That is the encumbrance of twins. The other half is always there, even when distance is forced between us. I sat among the court, my hands folded as custom required, my hair braided back in the same pattern Cylaen wore. Our faces carried the same bones and the same mouth, but my composure had always been more natural. Cylaen had learned it over time as armor, while I had simply worn it like silk. Our eyes met, but Cylaen did not smile. If she smiled, the court would think it had won something from her. She only let the smallest change touch her expression, enough for me to recognize it as an answer. The arbiter let silence settle, and Cylaen waited it out. She could wait longer than most of them, having learned patience from stubbornness. The arbiter spoke. "Cylaen Silvershadow," he said, making her name sound like a formality. "You stand before this court to conclude what has been set in motion." Cylaen looked directly at him. "Then conclude it. Do not dress it in reverence." The faint ripple of discomfort moved through those seated nearest the arbiter, but he himself did not blink. "You have been heard," he said, with a finality that confirmed the judgment loomed. It did not mean they had listened, it meant her speaking had been regarded as part of procedure. A councillor to the arbiter's right leaned forward and whispered to her, "There is no advantage in roughness. The court does not require your sharpness." "My sharpness is mine," Cylaen replied. "I do not ask what the court requires." "Your manner will not alter what must be done," another councillor hissed. Cylaen looked from face to face. "Then why summon me at all? Why not enact what you have decided without my body as witness?" The arbiter's hands rested loosely on his knees. "Because custom must be respected," he said. "Sir, this is not about truth. It is about making your decision difficult to challenge." The councillor frowned. "Be careful." Cylaen did not waver. "With what? My language? You have already taken everything else." The arbiter spoke again. "You are accused of loosening what was set, of drawing attention where it was not permitted, and of allowing what should remain contained to follow your steps." Cylaen listened, letting them finish. She could have interrupted, but it might make her look frantic, and she refused to be framed in that way. When the arbiter paused, she said this. "Those are not charges, those are impressions. You are describing the weaknesses of another." A councillor with hair bound in ribbons of leaf spoke quietly. "Impressions are not nothing here." "No," Cylaen agreed. "Impressions are everything here. That is the problem." You deny what was placed before us? The councillor asked. I deny your conclusion. I deny the way you arrived at it. The councillor remained calm. The court judges as it sees fit. And who teaches the court what it must be afraid of? Cylaen asked. You may speak to what occurred, the arbiter said. You may offer what you will. The court will complete this. Cylaen laughed under her breath. You speak as though I am here to help you, as though you would like my cooperation so you can call this clean. The councillor who had warned her earlier leaned forward again. Do not pretend you do not understand what is at stake. I understand what is at stake. I understand what you think you are protecting, and I understand what you are truly protecting. They are not the same. The arbiter looked genuinely baffled. Explain yourself. Cylaen blazed again. You are protecting your status, all of you. You are protecting the court's claim to never be wrong. She looked toward me, and I know she saw the fierce pride in my eyes. I wanted to reach for her more than anything in the world, but I could not, lest I be implicated. The arbiter did not respond to the accusation directly. You have been judged. You have been found misaligned. Misaligned. It sounded like a technical fault. If I am misaligned, then so is the court, he said. For an eternity you have praised what you now condemn. Yet another councillor spoke, though with a softer tone. Things that are tolerated in calm seasons become dangerous when the water rises. Cylaen recognized the tactic. So you admit it, she said. This is fair. The court senses change, and instead of examining it, you cut away what does not fit. The councillor shook her head. The court persists. It always will. The court survives, Cylaen corrected her. Persistence would require at least a little honesty. The arbiter remained unmoved. You'll be released from your place here, and you'll be marked so that the court's decision remains true. So, you will make me carry your story, whether it matches mine or not, Cylaen replied. The arbiter was resolute. We will make the boundary clear. He lifted one hand, a small gesture that silenced the councillors. You'll be allowed a moment, not to plead or to bargain, a moment to accept what will be enacted. Cylaen dug in. I will not accept it. I will withstand it. The arbiter's hand lowered because there was no further flourish of spectacle. Cylaen would have preferred spectacle because spectacle would mean weakness. She felt it as a closure, as an assertion that something had been decided without her consent. The arbiter's voice came again, as calm as ever. You are no longer of this court. Go. Go. A single syllable to save her life. Cylaen bowed, not in submission, in acknowledgement that the exchange was done. Then she turned and walked away. No one rose, called her name, or reached for her. The court watched her leave as they might watch a leaf drift down a river. She kept walking through the faces that appeared, then slipped aside. People who had once addressed her directly now kept their eyes lowered out of caution. She was a contagion now, something that might spread. Only when she reached a place where the canopy thinned into a quieter grove did she stop. I met her there, coming from behind her and saying her name. Cylaen turned. A resemblance was striking, the same face, mouth, and eyes, yet the differences were there too. I regret to admit that I had more of the court's discipline, while Cylaen always carried something wilder beneath the surface. Saereth, you followed me, Cylaen said. I walked. They did not forbid my feet. We stood facing one another in the hush of the grove. Can you feel it? I asked. Cylaen could have lied, but lying to me would be like giving the court a second victory. Yes, she said. Is it obvious? I asked, hardly able to look at her. My question carried more than it asked. I was asking about damage, not visibility. Cylaen almost smiled. No, she said. They would not stain their own hands with that. We stood in silence for a moment, and in that silence I understood everything that could not be said. I asked her how she now felt. Cylaen looked away, not to avoid me, but to study her voice. It is like a decision that has been locked in place. Something in me has been removed, and it is not mine to put it back. They always speak of balance, I said, as though balance is an excuse for cruelty. Oh, balance is their favorite word, Cylaen replied. It means whatever protects them. Looking at Cylaen at that moment, I could see the disappointment there, and beneath that, shame. You did what you could, she said, before the silence could harden into any accusations. But I sat. I watched. And you are still there, she answered. That matters to me. I turned to the future. And you? What will you do now? It would have been easy for her to promise return or speak comforts, but Cylaen did not. I will live, she said. I took out a small braided cord of pale root silk. Cylaen recognized it at once, of course. We had made it together long ago. She had laughed at how our braids never matched back then. I kept it, I said. You should not give me that, Cylaen replied. I am giving it to you because I cannot come with you, and because if I let you go with nothing, I will feel like I watched you fall and did not even reach out a hand. Thank you, Saereth, Cylaen said. Carry it, do not lose it. I will not, she promised me. We stood together for a moment longer, the silence holding everything we could not safely say. Cylaen looked deep into me. It felt final. Go, I said. Cylaen did not look back. If she looked back, she might stop. If she stopped, she might beg, and begging would be out of character for my sister. Later, I discovered that time did not pass in neat increments after that. It unspooled in stretches of travel and hiding, in hard weather and harder learning. Cylaen moved through places that did not care who she had been in Serafall. Hunger came when it came. Cold was not offended by her beauty. People looked at her with suspicion or desire or wariness, and all of it was simpler than the court's polished dismissal. She did not speak of what had been done to her. She refused to make it manageable. There were nights when she lay awake and let her mind run over the Arbiter's words, searching for some crack, some place where their ritual might have left an opening. She found none. The court had been built to deny such openings. When she reached the edge of the Woldwood, she arrived tired, with mud on her boots and her hair loosened by wind. The trees were thick and rough, their roots pushing through the earth like knuckles. The air smelled of damp growth and rot and the honest churn of life. It did not care for courtly sweetness, but then neither did Cylaen. She moved forward until the trees thinned all at once, and the clearing opened up around her in a broad, quiet bowl of earth. At its center stood the colossal stump of the Durn Yew. Around the clearing, set at even distances, stood stones. They rose taller than Cylaen, rough and narrow, their faces scarred by age and weather, and each one holding a dim glow within it. She did not approach the stump or touch the stones. She stood where she was and let the space take her in. She took out the braided cord. The root silk was warm now, softened by travelled skin. Cylaen held it there and looked at the stump, then walked to the center of the clearing, stood within the stone circle, and waited.
When authority accuses you wrongly, acceptance is not virtue. To rise is to refuse the shape imposed upon you, even when the cost is exile, and to fight for the right to remain whole in a world determined to define you as being smaller than you are.